Paranormal TV Network, and you're listening to Haunted Moments, and I am your host, Reverend Dr. Theresa F. Koch. Lizzie Borden's house, 1892. Though a jury clears Lizzie Borden, her reputation remains clouded. All eyes of the newspaper world focused on New Bedford in June 1883 as the Commonwealth of Massachusetts prepared to try Lizzie Borden for murder. The opinions vary about Lizzie Borden, even by those who knew her. Certainly the mind of Lizzie Borden seemed to hold two entirely different personalities. There is Lizzie, the good daughter, who made sure that her father was comfortable and tucked in for a nap on the lounge for which he never rose again. Then there is Lizzie, the bad daughter, the one who incessantly said better things about him behind his back, and not talked to him for days when she was angry with him. Robert Sullivan, in his objective research of the case, Goodbye Lizzie Borden, actually interviewed Miss Abby Whitehead Potter, which was Lizzie Borden's niece and namesake, who remembered her aunt and recalled this chilling tale about her. Lizzie Borden had company, and my aunt had a tabby cat, and the cat was trained so that it would touch the latch. You know, it was a sick latch in those days. She'd touch the latch and the door would open. So the cat went in where Lizzie was entertaining, and she took it out and shut the door again and came back. So this is what she told Aunt Abby, and Abby told my mother. Lizzie Borden finally excused herself and went downstairs. She took the cat downstairs and put the carcass on the chopping block and chopped its head off. My aunt for days wondered where the cat was. She talked about, that's all she could talk about. Finally, Lizzie said, "You go downstairs and you'll find your cat." And my aunt did. This startling vision really gives us an idea of the unstable kind of woman Lizzie Borden was. Whether the story is accurate or not, by 9 o'clock that hot August morning, Abby had died, much the same way as the cat. Her head had nearly been torn off her shoulders by a blunt instrument as she lay down on the floor of the upstairs bedroom. Forensic experts at the time judged that she had seen her attacker when struck. It was found that her head was crushed by 19 axe or hatchet wounds in the back of her scalp. Because of the lack of blood, it had been surmised that Abby died from the first blow, and with death, her head stopped pumping blood. Once the killer finished with the victim, the 200-pound corpse lay sprawled out on the knees, face down, waiting to be discovered 2 hours later. Meanwhile, old Andrew Borden went calmly on his rounds of business to the Union Savings Bank and to the National Union Bank and to the First National Bank of Fall River, and then to see one of his tenants, the hatter, Jonathan Clegg, at 10:40 a.m. His next-door neighbor, Mrs. Kelly, saw him at his front door as she hurried on to a dentist appointment, unknown to the fact that he would not leave the house alive again. Less than an hour later, his daughter Lizzie called up to the maid resting in her attic room. "Come down quick, father is dead. Somebody came in and killed him." It was there in the small little sitting room where the dead body of Mr. Borden lay, with his head and face so hacked as to be unrecognized, even to his friend and physician, Dr. Bowen, who attended the scene. Again, the mystery murder struck violently to the head. According to Robert Sullivan, Borden's head was bent slightly to the right, but his face was almost unrecognizable as human. One eye had been cut in half and protruded in a ghastly manner. His nose had been severed, and there were 11 distinct cuts within a relatively small area, extending from the eye and nose to the ears. Fresh blood was still seeping from the wounds, which were so severe that the first of the 11 blows probably had killed him. Although she was tried and acquitted of the gruesome crimes, Lizzie Borden and her hatchet have caused more confusion, speculation, and debate than any other murder case in American history. Numerous guests who have stayed at the Lizzie Borden house have reported hearing voices of a woman softly weeping in the night. Some guests have seen shoes moving across the floor, while others have had an older woman in traditional dress tuck them in at night. Lights flicker on and lights flicker off. Video equipment is suddenly turned off and on, and cameras will work when no one is using them, but then they won't work when you expect them to. And always, people claim the ghosts of Andrew and Abby wander the house where they were murdered. You're tuned in to Paranormal TV Network, and you've been listening to Haunted Moments, and I am your host, Reverend Dr. Theresa F. Koch.